There was a couple of select people that were quite supportive of Lucy, and then other people that just, you know, generally just wanted to know what was going on, really.
We know she couldn't have done anything that she's accused of, so without a doubt we stand by her.
Her mantra was, I'm not going to be forced out of the job I love, I've done nothing wrong, and she kept saying this. She never changed that mantra.
She was trusted, she was praised, she was the nurse parents asked for by name. To her colleagues, Lucy Letby was bright, compassionate, meticulous, the kind of nurse every neonatal ward needs more of. But years later, those same corridors would echo with a question that haunts Britain's healthcare system. How could someone so loved be accused of such horror? Before we continue, subscribe to Medical Crime Files and turn on notifications. Here, we uncover the stories where medicine and crime collide, and trust becomes the ultimate weapon. In 2025, the Thirlwall Inquiry began taking evidence from Lucy Letby's former colleagues at the Countess of Chester Hospital. It was ordered after her conviction for the murder of 7 babies and the attempted murder of 7 others between 2015 and 2016. The goal wasn't to retry the case, but understand how a nurse once celebrated as one of the best on the ward could go unnoticed as colleagues raised alarm. Over several months, nurses, mentors, and supervisors gave sworn testimony. Some remembered a caring professional. Others recalled someone detached, even strange. What emerged were 2 Luces, the one they thought they knew and the one they later feared they didn't. Many of Lucy Letby's early colleagues painted a picture of an ideal nurse. Caroline Jane Benyon, a staff nurse who worked alongside her, described Letby as a professional and competent nurse and told Inquiry she had no concerns regarding her practice. A senior nurse who mentored her during training between May and July 2010 remembered a conscientious, capable, and intelligent student, keen to expand her skills and always appropriate in communication. Sarah Jane Murphy, another nurse involved in her neonatal placement, told investigators she received positive feedback about Letby's clinical performance. Though she could not recall specific incidents, her ward manager, who oversaw the neonatal unit during those years, was even more emphatic. In her written statement, she called Letby one of my best nurses, meticulous, clever, and exceptional. At the time, Letby's reputation seemed beyond reproach. She volunteered for extra shifts, offered to help anxious parents, and even took part in fundraising events for premature baby charities. To colleagues, she represented the new generation of compassionate neonatal care. But in a ward where every life counted, even the smallest doubt could spread like infection. Within the same hospital walls, a darker narrative was quietly forming. Some nurses had begun to notice things that didn't feel right. And soon, the picture of the perfect nurse would begin to fracture. By 2015, the neonatal unit at the Countess of Chester Hospital had changed. More babies were deteriorating without clear cause. Behind closed doors, uneasy conversations began between staff, whispered doubts that something was wrong. For years, Lucy Letby had been seen as reliable, even exemplary. But during the Thirlwall Inquiry, a different picture emerged, one drawn by the same nurses who once called her a friend. Nurse ZC, who started on the same day as Letby in 2012, told the Inquiry she'd never forgotten one moment during training. Letby had turned to her and said, "I can't wait for my first death, just to get out of the way." At the time, Nurse ZC dismissed it as gallows humor, the kind nurses use to cope with trauma. But years later, she told investigators a remark stuck with me. She also recalled how Letby seemed animated, almost excited, when describing a baby's resuscitation attempt, not shaken as most would be. Melanie Taylor, another neonatal nurse, testified that Letby once arrived on shift excited and gossipy about a baby's death. Taylor said the tone felt a little strange, not professional. She told the Inquiry she felt uncomfortable hearing death discussed in that way, calling it cold. Ashley Hudson, a close colleague, remembered receiving a text message from Letby after a fatal incident. "We lost little child A on Monday. Know you looked after him when he was born, so thought you should know. Hudson told ITV News she was devastated and angry, explaining that no nurse should learn about a baby's death through a text. She described it as insensitive and wrong. Catherine Percival Calderbank, one of the unit's senior nurses, recalled receiving an email from Letby after she was first questioned by police. In it, Letby claimed she'd been fully exonerated by an internal review and asked staff to be sensitive on her return. Percival Calderbank said she and others were stunned by the tone. We'd never been unkind to her, so why did she need special sympathy? She added that by 2017 there was a niggle among staff. Something in the ward environment felt not right. Together, these accounts painted a chilling contrast to the image seen earlier, the capable, caring nurse replaced by someone whose reactions to death seemed unnervingly casual. Even so, not every witness condemned her. Some told the Inquiry they still struggled to reconcile the kind colleague they knew with the crime she was convicted of. That divide between devotion and suspicion remains at the center of Britain's most disturbing hospital scandal. As Lady Justice Thirlwall's inquiry moves toward its final report in 2026, the testimonies stand as a record of confusion and betrayal. In the same hearing, one nurse called Letby exceptional. Another described her as strangely excited about death. These contradictions are why the case still grips the public. Was she a brilliant professional hiding a dark obsession, or a scapegoat created by chaos in an overstretched ward? The truth may lie somewhere between the testimonies, in the blind spots of trust, the silences of fear, and the system that allowed warning signs to be missed. What do you think? Were these nurses describing the real Lucy Letby, or something they only saw after the headlines broke? Share your thoughts below. And don't forget to subscribe, comment, and share this video, because the next story on Medical Crime Files exposes another case where medicine and morality collided and trust was betrayed.